Hello, everybody. It's meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and it's hard to smile on a day like today. Why? Because your teeth will chip, and the coldest air is yet to come. Details in this version of Hutch's weather. But first, a message from my sponsors at Robert Gibb and Sons. They are offering up to $400 off the installation of a new system to our first responders. First responders, thank you from Robert Gibb and Sons with over 100 years of expertise in our region. Give them a call, let them know Hutch sent you. Okay, let's talk about this ridiculousness that we have going on across the area for today. And we're going to start with a look at your forecast because there's 7 days of just misery out there as we go through. We're going to start with the headline, and that's this cold extent of weather. Each of the next 7 days will have lows way below zero, some of the coldest air of the season for many of us, particularly in areas of the Southern Valley where we haven't had a lot of brutally cold days because of the lack of snowfall. Well, now there is some. We're talking 15 to 30 degrees below for many of us for morning temperatures to start your day. And look at this, afternoon temperatures staying sub-zero in several areas, including Fargo-Moorhead through Thursday and into Friday. We'll get a little warm up, but that comes with some growing pains. A winter weather event moving through the Central Plains will bring some impacts to our area, but not significant ones. And nope, we're not out of the deep freeze yet. With a continuation of cold nonsense across our area heading into the upcoming future. So as we take a look at some of the watches, the warnings and advisories across our area, I do want to let you know it's cold out there, but when we look from space at the cloud cover across our area, you'll see some clouds moving across northern Minnesota, a lot of blue skies in the valley. The white you're seeing on the ground here in the Red River Valley, snow. So you can really track the areas of snow that's laying on the ground from the last couple of systems. Highway 200 and points down to the south, a little bare spot up there along that Highway 2 corridor with more picking up in northeastern North Dakota. These areas with the fresh snow on the ground and this cold air mass moving out of Montana and Saskatchewan means mighty cold air is indeed coming our way. So cold grips the northern half of the nation. Check this out. We're talking about some very serious cold air warnings and advisories where we see all of these blue counties here. That's this cold air. We have winter storm warnings across Kansas, right into parts of Missouri right now as we head into, well, Topeka, Kansas as well. On the mid-Atlantic states, we're expecting winter storm conditions as well. But for us, it's the cold taking hold. Now notice Fargo's in this light blue and Grand Forks in the light blue as well. That is a cold weather advisory, and as you saw in my 7-day planner, it's going to stick around for some time. Dangerous cold air. There is an extreme cold warning. The difference between an advisory and a warning is this: the cold air is going to be here, there's no question about it. The conditions will be most prone to dangerous or life-threatening conditions where you see the dark blue counties from Dickinson, Bismarck, and Jamestown and into northern parts of Minnesota, Roseau County, Kitson County, all of Marshall County, Minnesota. This is eastern Walsh in the Grafton area. As we go up into your area of Pembina, we're going to see some cold air as well. That includes Cavalier. So cold weather warnings here across the valley. Look at this if you're traveling south on the Interstate 29. Once you get south of Sioux Falls, some snow is in the forecast. We'll go over that in a minute. Let's take a look at your current conditions right now across our area. Woo-wee, it's cold out there. And let me pull up the latest temperatures and wind chills for our area here. Pardon me while I get that information loaded up and efforted right here. We're going to start with the nastiest, and that's the wind chills across the area. Hey, it's cold out there. The thermometer on the car says near zero here in Fargo-Moorhead, but it feels like 15 to 25 below across our area. Some of the colder wind chills, though, out in the oil patch. Check this nonsense out. Minot right now, it feels like 36 below. Tioga, same thing for you. Sidney, Montana, at 29 below zero for a wind chill and 37 below for you in Plentywood. You'll want to put Plentywood on the fire out there in Plentywood, Montana. We're talking about Freud, Scobie, Brockton, Culbertson, Wolf Point, all in the 30s below. That includes Glasgow, Miles City, by the way, no picnic there either. This cold air is really extending into parts of northern Minnesota. You can see the whiter colors here. That's where those wind chills are mighty, mighty cold at this hour. Now, when we factor in the or when we take away the factor of the winds, this is the actual thermometer reading you're going to see on the car. 1 degree above in Fargo, 3 above in the Red River Valley for you in Grand Forks. So the Red River Valley warmer than it is in parts of northwest Minnesota and the northern parts of North Dakota as we head into the evening hours. So snowfall is not the problem, but it is the recent snowfall that will create some very cold conditions. Now, I do want to point this out. In the area of the deeper snow from our last couple of rounds of snow, that does include Fargo-Moorhead with a fresh 4 to 8 inches on the ground, and even more down south of Bismarck, southeast North Dakota, and a few patches up here in that Walhalla to Cavalier and Pembina areas. We're going to see some ridiculous cold temperatures for tonight. Let's get right to that. Here's tonight's forecast, Hutch's forecast for actual air temperatures. You can actually see the effects of the snowpack on the ground here. You know what? It's one of those things where we get these clear skies. It's not going to be perfectly calm, but the winds will be quiet enough to allow perfect conditions for what we call radiational cooling here in the northern plains. That means 20 to 30 below, folks, for most of us here. That includes Grand Forks, Devils Lake, up in places like Walhalla, up in places like Bottineau, Belcourt, and particularly south of the Interstate 94 corridor, where we did get upwards of 10 inches of snow in Sioux County, over 5 inches of fresh snow out near the Wahpeton area. I expect 20s below. These are air temperatures. Now you factor in the wind, and this is where it becomes dangerous. Make sure you have a survival kit out there. We're talking 20 to 40 below for wind chills across the area as we go into the morning, and that's even with some quieter wind speeds. All right, here's a look at your afternoon temperatures. Notice the entire area is this dark purple because we're not going to see above zero readings. There might be a corner of the FM area that has a warmer spot than others, and it'll be near 0 or 1 degree. That's it. Most of us are sub-zero. That includes all the way down to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Sub-zero air likely there. Can't rule out a snowflake along the boundary of this cold air mass, but as you saw on the satellite, mostly clear here in the valley and points north. So indeed, unhot, mighty unhot in your forecast. Let me take a look and see if we have any questions coming up. Karen Berg says, Burr, watching from Hobbs, New Mexico. Justin, it's a pleasure to have you for the home in Bemidji. Yep, it's cold in Bemidji. Look at that. Tomorrow, 9 below zero. You do not want to stick the old tongue on a flagpole in Bemidji or otherwise. Now, maybe you can get away with that in Hobbs, New Mexico, but not here. It's not that kind of weather. Lisa says, wow, like you said, ridiculous cold, maybe better next week. Is that a question mark? Let me see. Yeah, you know what? We do have some better weather coming, but by better, it's in moderation. I'll show you that here too. Thanks for the stars. Y'all are the very best. Thanks, Chris Nelson, for your support. And again, Nathan, thank you for watching Hutch's Weather. Okay, again, another look at the 7-day planner. Then we'll look at our extended forecast that goes beyond the next 7 days. And for that, it's just basically Burr the whole way. Friday brings a chance of snow. I want to highlight that in the extended forecast. We're going to start with the European model here, and that's going to show us the national view. And what you're going to notice, and I point this out because the storm track has shifted well to the south. I talked about this a bit last night. Let me pull back to a model here that goes out just a little bit further. Here we go. So we do have some snow chances along the leading edge of this Arctic air mass right here. Those are going to drift through parts of Iowa. Look at this weather system: heavy rain, thunderstorms, severe weather potential in the southern plains, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and an ice storm that will ensue as we head out into the mid-Atlantic states. That's why we have the winter storm warnings that are in effect by the National Weather Service there that I showed you. Colorado Rockies system develops here. This called upslope flow. We take air from the Gulf of Mexico and we throw it up and lob it up the elevated terrain of the Rockies, and that brings out a lot of snowflakes. So this Colorado low is going to bring a band of heavy snow. This is Wednesday, going into Wednesday morning. That system looks to be very potent, and I mean the severe weather threat goes up in the southern plains with this system Wednesday into Thursday. This is from Louisiana, Arkansas, all the way into the northern reaches of places like Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. You see this area here? That's the area of concern as we go through. There's a cold front there, a warm front here. Along the warm front, there's going to be spin in the atmosphere. Do not be surprised Wednesday afternoon to hear of a few tornadoes in the forecast, says Hutch. Area of ice that will drift across central and southern Missouri. Arkansas, I think you stay rain with this system, but look at the heavy snow. We're talking Kansas City. We're talking St. Louis into central parts of Illinois and heading up towards Rockford. Look at this. Good old Chicago could be in the midst of very heavy bands of snow working its way. Wednesday night is the timing on this, Central Time, dinner time. Going to be eating flakes outdoors. Just watch out for the yellow ones, says Hutch Johnson. That's a free tip from me. This storm system lifts into the northeastern United States. We'll have a cold front extending all the way down from the south. Very cold air dives down into the nation's midsection as we head towards your Thursday afternoon. Look at this cold air mass. It parks right here where you see the H. That does not stand for Hutch Johnson. It does not stand for hot. It's Gulf of America now. Oh, Abrahamson, Sherry, thank you very much for that. Sometimes Hutch is short of memory, particularly when we've called it something else for decades and decades. My apologies. It is cold outside, Brenda. Angela says it's -7. It's so frozen, something falling out of the sky. Yeah, I think the sun is working, but it can't just get through all this Arctic air. Heading into the late term forecast, another Colorado low. So you can really see the impacts of this more southerly track of these storms. And the reason it's so far south is this cold air mass has dove all the way south, and it's along the boundary between the coldest of air and the warmest of air, where we're more prone to see some unsettled weather. And again, in the Gulf of America down here as we head into the upcoming weekend, 1 week post Super Bowl, it does look like a very wild weather event from the Gulf Coast and to the eastern third of the United States. How about temperatures? Let me take you to that, because you asked about beyond the next 7 days. So here we are going through our cold week. You can see the cold air here in the bright white colors. That's 10 to 20 below in the mornings. But notice there's a moderation in temperatures in the deep south as we head into next weekend, the weekend of the 15th. As we continue through, it gets actually warm down there. And it's this real serious boundary between air near 0 and air near 70. A 70-degree difference where we're going to see some volatile weather over the next several days. Does it look warmer here to you? Nope, not to Hutch. This is going into the 18th, 19th, 20th. Finally, a change in the weather in the downslope or the elevated terrain of the high plains. We're talking western South Dakota and western Nebraska. Some of that warmth will eventually start working its way here, but it's going to take a bit of time until, well, this model says, and this is a pretty good one, the European model, Monday, the 24th is when we may have a chance at really breaking the ice. No pun intended. Wait, Pedro says, no way. That was definitely a pun intended. Okay, that's a look at your forecast. Johnson, thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching. And then if you want to check the weather anytime, anywhere, please visit hutchesweather.com. I'm going to share with you now a couple of photos recently uploaded. And I got to thank each and every one of you for taking advantage of Hutch's Weather at hutchesweather.com. We got a dandy photo that was uploaded right here, right now. Let's go to it. And I got to tell you what, this is a perfect example of what happens when we get ice crystals in the sky. You can burp in one town and your breath turns into ice crystals. It's so cold out there. Southern Roseau County, though, look at this. Alan sending this in. Wow, what a beautiful shot. There's the real sun. And this is a dog that follows it through the sky as it rises in the sky. On the left, there's a sundog. On right, the circle around it is caused by what's called a halo. And that is basically based on the geometry of a hexagonal ice crystal. Gorgeous shot there, Alan. Thank you so much. This one was uploaded by Tiffany. Well, I helped her get it uploaded because we were having some problems with the system, but we had to do a test. Tiffany, thank you for all your beautiful photos. Look at this one. Sanford there with a perfectly blue sky and a very white foreground there as fresh snow. Looks pretty good. And this old guy here talking to third graders late last year at Meadowlark Elementary School. I got to tell you what, a bunch of smiling faces. Always good to share my love of weather with our area students. Now check this one out. This is really a dandy as well. When you get snow, you can upload your measurements just like this. It's a great way. And I would rather have measurements from you because it's hard to measure snow and all the wind that we have. But measurements from you like this go a long ways towards helping us see what really falls from the skies. The radar can look active, and sometimes we just don't get as much as we think, or we get less than it looks like on the radar as well. So your reports make a huge difference. You can see a lot of people partook in those opportunities to upload. And then this is just a dandy shot right here. I can't tell you, Julia, this is just a beautiful scene out there. It looks cold because guess what? It is cold. Thanks for your Detroit Lakes view. Thanks to everybody for checking out Hutch's Weather. For now, I will get you back to your regularly scheduled day, which I hope is staying inside and staying warm. But if not, I'll be back with an update just a little bit later on what you can expect. Please click the follow button on Facebook. It really helps Hutch out. The more that follow, the better chance that others get to see my content. Thanks so very much for subscribing on YouTube as well.